Well, well, well. Good morning, Vietnam. Thank you to all those that are dealing with a couple of the live stream notices that were put up. I am trying OBS Studio to do this live stream, and it's my first time actually trying it just to see how it's going to be, and it's a little bit more than... Let me just put it this way. I need to practice a little bit more with OBS. And I heard that Streamlabs is supposed to be pretty good too. And there's a little bit of a delay between what I'm seeing here on camera, going into OBS, and being broadcasted out via OBS versus using YouTube Go Live. So I'm going to hopefully see a couple of people join in. Totally my fault. Beginner's fault here. Just because I'm not very well versed at OBS yet. So I need to practice more with it. And unfortunately, I even thought for just a split second, just go to what I know and practice a little bit more on OBS. But, it's kind of baptism by fire, I guess. So I'm going to enjoy my coffee, and we're going to talk a little bit about tech time, about some of the tech that is out right now, that's going to be out, that some of the reviews that I'm going to be doing. And if you have any questions, definitely post them in the comment section or here in the stream section if there's anybody there, because I don't even know if everybody's still sitting on the other live stream waiting for it to happen. And if that's the case, let me just see if I can go to the other live stream icon and delete it. Baptism by fire. Let's see. This one here. Need to bear with me for just a second here. I need to just change a couple of things. Make this private. Save the changes on that. And then we'll do the same for this one. Unfortunately, I don't mean to burn up everybody's time while I'm figuring this out. But that should have taken care of that. So, okay, so we should be up and live and running now. I got rid of the other thumbnails that were showing live streams coming. Set a reminder. For some reason, when I set that, I assumed, and you know what they say about assume, I assumed that if I went into OBS to log in with the same stream key, that it would pick up from where that stream left off and actually start in that, and it didn't. So I guess I get to learn that way. I'll show you a cool little thing here. Now, there is some cool things about OBS that I do want to show you, and I can show different camera views. So that is some of the product that I'm going to be reviewing. We've got the Hollyland, the Mars 400. Then we've got the Movo Duo, which is really nice because I was actually planning on using the Duo in Las Vegas to go to NAB, but that didn't quite pan out with the whole C thing, Anyway, I'm looking forward to doing those reviews. Let me get back here. I can't see the chat here. Looks and sounds good. I was fighting with the thermostat. Well, if you're anything like being in Texas, Dan, the thermostat over here you definitely get to fight with, because one day it's in the 60s and the other day it's in the 90s. So I get to kind of play with the thermostat here as well. A couple of things that I wanted to just touch on real quick is I did a review of this dash camera, the Rexing, I think it was called the V1 Pro. It's actually not labeled on here, but it's the Rexing V1 Pro. I actually reviewed this dash camera about 8 months ago and put the video up on YouTube, and I put it in my Challenger. And the reason I put it in the Challenger is because I like the fact that it would record the GPS information, miles per hour, onto the video. And so I figured, well, I'll stick it in a Challenger. Well, unfortunately, my Challenger is kind of turned into a little bit of a toy, I guess, because I only take it out about once a month. So this dash camera has only seen use over the last 8 months, maybe 8 to 10 times. And yesterday morning, I fired up the Challenger to go take a drive with it and go put some gas in her. And guess what? This didn't come on at all. So I've reached out to Rexing. Hopefully they're going to respond to me and let me know exactly what's going on regarding that dash camera and why its longevity was so short. And then I want to talk about SJ Cam, the SJ10 Pro. You know, this camera's got so much potential. And unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because I've reached out to SJ Cam a couple of times regarding getting a firmware fix for some of the issues. Audio is going to be one of them. The EIS was another one. And then there was some glitching that was going on in the 2K resolution at different frame rates. And we're working on it. My contact with SJ Cam, I'm not going to say who it is, but my contact with SJ Cam said, hey, got a new firmware, sent it to me. I downloaded the firmware and bip bam boom, guess what? It actually bricked the camera, which was kind of disheartening for me because I didn't plan on it bricking the camera, because I was really looking forward to maybe doing a follow-up video to show that this is possibly the best SJ Cam that's ever been made. And I don't know what's going on with SJ Cam. I think that I know that they've changed some of their firmware personnel regarding their engineers, and you know, it didn't brick it to where it doesn't work, or it doesn't even come on. It does come on, but once it comes on, when you hit the touchscreen, nothing. It doesn't respond. You hit record, it will not record. You try to turn it off, it won't even turn off. You actually have to remove the battery. So when I reached back out to my contact at SJ Cam and said, hey man, this firmware you sent me is bogus, it bricked the camera. Well, he's not an engineer, and I'm not going to say who he is because he's a nice guy and he's been very helpful being a intermediate with me regarding SJ Cam. But it's just a shame. It's just a shame. I hope that they get it worked out to a point to where the camera can be feasible again. For those of you that did not see yesterday's video of the Cross Tour, the CT9700, decent little action camera. It also has some of its quirks. I guess its biggest one is going to be the downfall of the audio. The audio was so low on it. And it's funny because when I reached out to Cross Tour to ask about the chipset that's in it and regarding the image sensor, they didn't really want to talk about it. And I was like, you know, my viewers, they want information. And a lot of them are tech-related viewers that really want to know what type of chipset's in it, because then they're going to know what the camera's capable of and what type of image sensor is in the camera. So then they finally told me what it was. Great. And then I reported back some of these issues I found with the EIS being very just jerky. It's almost like it's trying to overcompensate without a jello effect. It's just a jittery effect. And about the audio being really low, about 2K and 2.7K being in a 4:3 aspect ratio as opposed to 16:9. And I haven't heard from them anymore. So I gave it an ample opportunity for them to kind of get back with me and let me know, hey, yes, this is something that we'll address. If that was the case, then I would have waited. But I sent them 3 emails regarding the camera and the faults that I found, and they just like disappeared. So it's not to get back at them to say, but it's like, you know, I give every manufacturer of any product that is sent to me an opportunity to know about some of these problems and to fix them. Let me turn down the volume of this microphone here. The speakers. And if they don't respond to me, that's like they really don't care. And if they don't care, then so be it, I had a commenter made a comment about, what was his name? You Can Too Adventures. He had made a comment about, he was looking at the camera and he really appreciated the fact that I was honest about it. I'm a consumer. And for those of you that don't know, the whole history behind starting this channel was I'm a consumer. I've seen a lot of reviews, and a lot of reviews are kind of, you almost kind of go under the impression that some of these reviews, they're going to say great things about everything, no matter what, just because, I don't know, maybe they feel indebted because they got something for free from a manufacturer. Or I'll look at stuff on Amazon and I'll see all these beaming reviews. And then I get the product because I'll buy it and I get it and it's junk. And then I've seen some of the shenanigans that go on with some of these sellers in Amazon, but I'm not going to get into a rant. By the way, just for those of you, Jeff Winter's 8mm silent video. Yeah, if you're talking about the Cross Tour 9700 or CT 9700, yeah, definitely. It was very much a disappointment. But, hopefully the audio is good on this. The delay is crazy. And part of this is my fault because when I did a test about a week ago with OBS, I chose low latency. This time I didn't pay attention because I was having issues with the cameras connecting and OBS and YouTube wanting to stream together, that I accidentally chose normal latency, which apparently is about, from what I'm seeing on the screen, probably about a 20 to 30 second delay. So if you put something up in the comment section, I apologize if I am slow to get to it. Let's see. Dan Whitaker says, just throw a black and white LUT and add some grainy effects and you'll have a winner. Dan, I could do like Casey does, a Camera Conspiracy, and do his little zombie LUT. And that would probably be a good thing for that camera. But anyway, for those of you that did watch yesterday's video, I am giving away that Cross Tour. And I'm not going to do these giveaway videos anymore where I announce this is a giveaway. I'm going to throw a little Easter egg into a video, just like I did yesterday's video. If you got to a certain point in the video, which was pretty close to the end, I threw the Easter egg about I was going to give away that camera. And I'm going to be giving it away next week, Friday, on the 22nd. I'll announce a winner. And for those of you that aren't subscribed, but you did do what you were required to do to enter that little giveaway, subscribe to the channel and click that bell so that you get notified when I post up that video, because you've only got 24 hours to be able to respond to me to get that camera. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Akaso. Akaso was coming out with the Brave 7, which looks identical to the DJI Osmo Pocket. Front-facing screen, rear screen, and then it kind of just disappeared. It kind of makes me wonder that DJI was like too much of a copy. But then again, I don't know. I just wish that they would come out with it. Let's see. Man, I'm going to butcher up this name, and if I do, I'm really, really sorry. Kataro Maga Kataro, watching from Southeast Asia. Well, hello from Southeast Asia. Let's see. You Can Too Adventures, worth it or not. I hope someone can use the camera. It'd be nice for someone. You know what? Excuse me. It's been really warm and humid today. My allergies are just driving me nuts. Yeah, the Cross Tour is not a bad camera. It's 1080p, in my opinion, sucked. It really shines in 4K at 30. 4K at 50, I found some frame repeating, which was really weird because it would play the video and then it would stop and then kind of replay like the second half of that video over again. So they've got some issues with the 4K at 50 frames per second, but the 4K at 30 seems very nice. The EIS, if you're walking nice and calmly, is good. If somebody's going to use an external microphone with a recorder to get their audio, then audio is not going to be an issue. Maybe Cross Tour, I hope, is going to do a firmware update for that camera, because if they do and they address the audio, and if they can at least address the EIS and maybe the 2K and 2.7K. And the reason I say that is because there's a lot of people that don't want to shoot 4K. They don't have computers that can handle it. And if they shoot 4K, it's very hard on their system. It's hard to render. It's hard to edit. And a lot of people, they like to shoot in 2K. And a 4:3 aspect ratio, is kind of 1980s. So, there are circumstances where you can use a 4:3 and then kind of stretch it out a little bit or zoom in and get your 16:9 aspect ratio. But I think 2K and 2.7K need to be a 16:9, or at least have it as an option in the camera. Let's see, Jeff Winters, low light test. Jeff, I had some low light footage of that camera and it was so grainy I didn't even add it to it. But then again, majority of the videos, or the majority of the action cameras that I have tested in low light, and when I say majority, minus the GoPro Hero 8 and minus the Osmo Action, all the other ones suffer in low light. The image sensor is just way too small and the aperture is not big enough to allow in enough light, and you don't have manual controls to where you have manual controls in photo mode, but you don't have it in video mode. And so all these cameras, when it comes to low light, and especially if you throw EIS into it, it definitely super grainy, not even worth it. Not even worth it. You've got cameras like, I'm using a Canon M50 right now, and then you've got cameras like my Lumix G7. They've got pretty large sensors in it, and they still suck at low light. And I've got a lens for the Canon M50 that is a manual lens. It's a 35 millimeter, and hopefully it'll go down to a 1.4, I believe, on its aperture. So hopefully I can get some decent low light performance out of it, but that's a review that's coming up in the future. Like I was telling Kevin at Basic Filmmaker, that I've got so many items to review, and the items that I've got to review, like I put back here, let me turn this camera off, that's just 3 out of 16 others. Well, actually that's 4, because if you look at that gimbal right there, that is the Feiyutech AK2000S. That thing is a monster, and I love the fact that it's got a follow focus motor on it, so that you can pull focus on it. That review has been a little bit long in the making. I ran into 2 little problems. Got with Feiyutech, we've figured out what the problems were, and so I'm trying to use it with the Canon. That's a T5i. I'm going to use it on the Lumix G7. I'm going to use it on a Canon M50, just to give you some different video examples. And by the way, I'm not going to keep this stream going for very long tonight, and I'm going to tell you reason number 1, which is going to be the most important, is I'm using the Canon M50. So I'm using the Canon EOS utility beta software, where it actually plugs in directly into the USB of my computer, even though I do have, I don't know if you can see that. Let that dude focus. The Pengo 4K HDMI grabber. So I wanted to get I wanted to get one of these. Well, first I was looking for the Elgato. And the Elgato, they're price gouging that. It's normally like $90. They're price gouging it for over $400. And I can't say who I got this from, but I got it from somebody that's very nice and came to the rescue. Let's see here. We got Bad Karma in the house. Hello, Papa. I don't know. This guy calls me Papa all the time. How's the family? Family's good. Let's see. Finally having problems with my V30 audio not syncing. Did this camera have sync problems? Yes, the V30 has sync problems. I actually made a video about it, comparing it. Just happen to have both these guys right here. So I've got the Akaso and the Campark. The Akaso V50X. This one goes out of sync in about 5 or 6 minutes of 4K with the IS on. The Campark goes out of sync with the audio and video go out of sync at about 2 to 3 minutes. And I have no idea. This is 2020. I mean, maybe it's just beyond what the chip can actually handle because they've got that EIS working so hard that maybe that's why it goes out of sync. And by the way, I did put up a video of how to fix that in post. Let's see, 4K no bueno for us. Yeah, 4K is tough. I mean, for a lot of computers. I just got a new one. I call this one my new behemoth right here. This one, 64 gigs of RAM. I've got the AMD Ryzen 7 3700X, 8-core, 16-thread. It is water-cooled, 8 gigabyte GPU, 4K monitor that I need to replace because I don't like this monitor at all. It's a Samsung, and its colors aren't accurate. But anyway, my widescreen, the BenQ that I have up at the office, that one's great. But no, unless you have a new computer or newer computer, you know, yes, you can always, I mean, if you use Adobe Premiere Pro, you can always do proxy files and use that through your workflow. But otherwise, you know, a lot of people, they still like 1080. The Canon M50, it does shoot 4K, but man, it just crops in huge. And then you lose that dual pixel autofocus. And so, you know, 1080p, there's nothing wrong with it. I like 1080p. There's still, I probably would say 90% of YouTubers that are still uploading in 1080p. Let me get back to chat here so I don't let anybody think that I'm ignoring them. 4K no bueno. I love my Lumix G7, like my Canon 60D. You know, my Lumix, I like the Lumix G7. I just wish its autofocus was better. And by the way, kind of getting back to what I was saying earlier, you know, with these live streams, it's really easy to kind of get just off track. I'm not going to go very long with the live stream. Reason being is the Canon M50, my little dummy battery that I ordered for it, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a little battery. It's not a battery. It looks like a battery. It plugs in. Then you have a plug that actually goes into it, and it goes into a wall outlet so that you can run the camera nonstop. I know that I can get between 45 minutes and an hour, and it's a freshly charged battery, so hopefully it will keep on running for me. But that's why I'm going to kind of keep it short, because I'd hate for this video to drop out, and then it would be a total cluster of this live stream. Let's see, crystal clear audio, I'm actually using, the camera that I'm using is the Canon M50, but with the Canon EOS utility beta software, it doesn't pull audio from that little micro USB. So I'm using a Blue Yeti microphone. It is a USB microphone. I like it. At this distance, it's kind of okay because you start to lose a little bit of the resonance of your voice, but the closer that you get to it, the better that it starts to sound. Let's see. Bad Karma, using Lumix. Okay, you guys are chatting amongst yourselves, and that's always good because There's there's no way for me to watch the chat, answer all the questions. So if somebody's got an answer to somebody, all you got to do is do the @ sign or the @ symbol and that person's name, and it will show up a big orange box to them to let them know you're talking to them. Let's see here. Use it on my gimbal. Captain Jack. Hello, Captain Jack. Hello, everyone. Just now got the notification. 23 minutes late. Hey, Captain Jack, do not feel bad about being 23 minutes late, because I was actually about a minute late, and I'd spent the better part of about 15 minutes trying to get OBS to work with YouTube to do this live stream. I may try Streamlabs. Streamlabs has a lot of cool little features in it, but until I can figure this thing out, OBS, I may actually go back to just a YouTube Go Live and just have a single camera and a microphone and let that be it. Let's see. Does your GoPro get too hot, Dan? Okay. Let's use it on. I just got 2020 MacBook Air, and it's the i5 quad-core CPU. There's nothing wrong with the i5. If it's the later generation of it. One of my old computers has the i5, but it's one of the first generations of the i5, and that one really sucked. Let's see. Choose the order. My phone goal is to find a good gimbal for my Lumix G9. Well, I'll tell you what, Dan, if you've got a Lumix G9, I want you to send it to me. I've got a ton of gimbals I can test it on, and in about 6 or 8 months, I'll send the camera back to you and let you know what gimbal worked. Let's see here. Didn't work here. G9 is portable Micro Four Thirds system. I'm using a Zhiyun crane I got for $150. Hey, there's nothing wrong. I've never used the Zhiyun crane. I've heard great things about it. Let's see. You Can Too Adventures. I was asked about the giveaway camera. This before you do. I can't remember the name of it. I'm old, I don't know. How old are you? You Can Too Adventures. I'm 55. I'm about to be 56 next month. So when I say I'm an old guy, I'm an old guy. But that's okay. I've got a 9-year-old, so she keeps me on the young side. Let's see. Captain Jack, when I do my live streams with outdoor camera, I had to change out the battery every 24 hours. Just swap it out on YouTube. Live stream, even though everything froze in a minute. Captain Jack, my problem was I had actually done a notification for live stream. I did it yesterday. I put the thumbnail up. I had the stream key, everything. I put it in OBS yesterday. It was all good to go. And then today, when I tried to hook OBS up with YouTube to do the stream, it said it can't connect. So then I tried again. And then lo and behold, it actually created another stream set reminder. And then I finally got this to work. So I'm going to have to get with Kevin, the basic filmmaker, because he's come a long way when it comes to this live streaming stuff, to where he's figured out a lot of things that you can do with OBS. Because I'd asked him, I said, what should I do? Should I use OBS or should I use Streamlabs? And he was like, there's a lot of good things about Streamlabs, but he prefers OBS. And I like a lot of the widgets that I could see in Streamlabs, because if you get like a new subscriber, it pops up on the screen. It's like a little zombie dancing. If you get a donation, that pops up on the screen. If you get a super chat, it pops up on the screen. So it's kind of a cool little thing. And then, I want to be able to run a ticker at the bottom and all that. But, I should know better, especially being 55 years old, that you have to walk before you run. And I cannot just jump right into this live streaming thing. You Can Too Adventures. You're 52. Well, you're a youngin'. I could be your daddy. I'm kidding. Let's see here. Dan Whitaker. We can be the old geezer squad. Most 50 and older. Absolutely. You know, Dan, but I don't think you're in your 50s, are you? Because if you are, damn boy, you don't look like it at all. I'm going to wait for you to respond to that. It's going to take about 45 seconds to a minute. So, okay, back to review stuff. So, I got the Van Top Moment 6S, and it is identical, if you remember that video, to the SJ8 Pro. And apparently, Kevin said you can combine OBS with Streamlabs. He's going to do a video about it. You know, Captain Jack, if he actually does a video about it, that would be cool, because it'd be nice to merge. Nothing against OBS. I mean, I'm a newbie to it, so OBS kind of looks like it would be an old style platform when you look at the layout, and then when you pop up Streamlabs, Streamlabs looks like, hey, this is 2020. This is the cool version. I'd like to, you know, if he can put up a video, and Kevin's a great guy. I mean, I'd said a bunch of that on the last video, ranting and raving about what a cool guy he is. And by the way, you got to check him out. Basic Filmmaker. Kevin, the Basic Filmmaker. Very cool guy. Wow, Dan, you're 51? Well, you don't look like it at all. Not at all. Let's drink a lot of water. Well hydrated. I drink a lot of coffee, so I'm well dehydrated. Captain Jack, you're 54 in the next 2 months. Well, early happy birthday to you, Captain Jack. This is like the big coffee mug. Yes, it is. You know, the reason I'm drinking out of this coffee mug and not my Worth It or Not coffee mug, because my Worth It or Not coffee mug is it's like a little cafe mug. You know what I mean? When you go to the old restaurants, it's just a small little coffee cup. And after the long day that I had today and getting ready for tonight, I needed something that would hold 2 cups, so I've got a bigger cup. Wolf Tick video, still in my 40s, but looks 60s. Does that count? Stay young, my friends. Stay young. Stay young. One thing I will say that I do like, for those of you that do have the Canon M50, this is neat. The autofocus on the Canon M50 using this beta version from Canon Utility, beta version, and it's just going from the micro, it's not even taking an HDMI signal, it's taking a micro USB to a regular USB into your computer, and it's capturing either 4K or 1080. I'm running 1080 30 frames per second, but the autofocus still works. It's a little bit slower than what it would be normally, but pow. So that's kind of cool. My Lumix G7, the only way that I can use that, and I did do a test last week, and I actually sent it to Kevin just so he could take a look at it. The only way I could feel confident using that, and I was using the Pengo with it, because the Lumix, Panasonic doesn't have that utility software, so you have to use an HDMI grabber. But that one, the only way I could feel confident was actually do manual focus on it, and that way I don't have to worry about the autofocus is hunting all over the place. Let's see, we'll take we're as old as we feel. Well, there are days that I feel old, and then there's days that I don't feel old. And the days I don't feel old is when my daughter keeps me really busy and wants to go swimming or wants to go do this or do that. And with the whole lockdown situation, it's been a lot of at-home stuff where, you know, normally with the schools being closed, you would think that it'd be nice. You can go to Six Flags, you can go to the mall, you can't go anywhere because of the lockdown situation. So as frustrating as it is for us adults, it has got to be unbelievably frustrating for the children out there. And I applaud all the parents out there that are having to juggle career, income, bills, children, teaching them at home. Yes, they do have their little iPads, or a majority of them do, and they can do like that little Google Classroom thing with their teachers. But still, I mean, they're not equipped to be able to deal with that. Let's see, what else we got here? Use a big old coffee cup too. Sweet. By the way, Dan, you never did respond to sending me the G9. I'll send you, tell you what, Dan, you send me the G9 and I'll find a gimbal for you. And then I'll send you this Campark dash camera. It's so bad that they sent me 2 of them. Because the first one didn't work. The second one, the audio doesn't work on it. So I am not going to be doing a review on that. I have to kind of, as much as a lot of people, if they ask me to review something, consumer or viewers, they ask me to specifically review something, I'll reach out to a company, and if they send it to me, and if there's enough interest in it, I'll do a review on it. Campark just happened to say, hey, we've got this dash camera, I would like to send it to you. I said, okay. I said, this first one doesn't work. So they sent me a second one, and the second one doesn't work. And I don't want them to send me a third one because I don't think the chances of both of these just mysteriously being bad dash cameras, I just don't think, I think it's just a bad dash camera. So I'm not even going to do a review on it because I don't want to trash companies. Let's see what else we got going on here. You can see the lock on your eye in the flippy screen. Olympistic. That's good. Bear with me. I'm trying to catch up in chat here, and I don't know if Dan is talking to me or if he's talking to Captain Jack here. Found a hack for using a Canon SL2 connected to my Mac via USB for line through autofocus. Works great. You can see the lock. I don't know. You can see a lock on my eyes, Dan, or let's see. Gonna have to pass on that trade? Okay, fine. All right, Dan, you drive a hard bargain. I'll send you the Campark V30, but you can only try it out. This is not a trade. This is just a loaner. Just like your G9 will be a loaner. Challenger, no charger. Yeah, I love my Challenger, if that's what you're talking about. Let me use the charger. Well, you know what, Dan? I could probably let you have the, let you use the Challenger because that is a 2012. I bought that car brand new. It just came off the trailer. The dealership had to do the inspection on it. It's called a make-ready inspection, and that's where they put the little ink dots on everything under the hood to make sure that they've checked everything. And I bought that in September of 2011 as a 2012 model, and I just broke 11,000 miles on that in 2020. So 8 years, 8.5 years, almost 9 if you think about September. So yeah, I don't put a whole lot of use on it. It's kind of a shame. My wife gives me grief about that all the time. Like, wow, it's a really expensive toy sitting in the garage. Let's see. I'll use my G9. If a company sends me something for free and there's a problem, I will tell them about the problem. If I buy something there's a problem, I'll put my views on it line politely. Digital analog ham. That's a very good point. If some, and there's been a lot of companies that have sent me something for free, and if it's not up to par, I will first let them know. And if I've had a lot of viewers asking me about reviewing a certain item, like I had a ton of reviewers about this, or viewers ask me about the SJ10 Pro, a ton. And like I said, it's got potential. But yes, there's been a lot of stuff that I purchased on my own that when I purchased it and I reviewed it and it totally sucked. I mean, when I came across the, I don't know if you guys remember, but the DB Power. Let's see if it'll catch focus here. The D5, which is metal body, knockoff clone of the V50 Pro. When I came across that deal for 20 bucks, I bought one. I figured, okay, let me do a review on it. 20 bucks. I mean, worst case scenario, it's totally trash. I'll tape it to a basketball, shoot some baskets with it, see if it survives, see what the footage looks like out of it. It actually turned into a pretty decent little camera for 20 bucks, and that's why I bought up a couple more. But no, I do agree with you. If, you have to remember, when companies send you an item for free, unless if it's a sponsored video and they're sending you an item for free and they pay you to do the video, that's a sponsored video. So I've had it happen 2 times where I got sponsorship money to do a video on a product. The product was actually horrible on both of these items, and I actually just sent them their money back because I didn't want to take their money to do a video on an item that totally sucked. And I've got to have enough ethics about me to say, okay, it's nice that you sent me X amount of money, and it's nice that you want me to do this video, but I can't deceive a consumer just because I'm getting paid money for it. So, if that's the case, but otherwise, when a company sends you a product, let's say like Campark, they sent me this dash camera for free. It probably cost them, no offense, but $12 to make. They sell it for, I think, $89. I've got to do the video, which takes time. Got to do the narration. Got to do a bunch of shots with it. All that stuff. And that takes time to actually make a video. So my time is actually worth money as well. So I don't mind getting a good product for free if it's a good product and letting you, the consumers out there or the viewers, know about it. But if it's a crappy product, I mean, sometimes you just have to it's like SJ Cam. And this is not a ding on them. I like SJ Cam. I've been a good proponent or a good, I don't want to say fanboy, because there's a lot of action cameras, like the Eye's been a good action camera. Firefly's been a very good action camera. SJ Cam, they were really the first to come up with a GoPro alternative that was worthwhile, and they worked really hard with their firmware. And this next camera view that you're going to see right here, yes, it's kind of grainy, but you have to keep in mind, you have to keep in mind that is the SJ4000. That camera is every bit of 6 or 7 years old, and it still works. And I can use it as a live stream camera. So not bad in my opinion. Something's changed with SJ Cam. And as much as I really like SJ Cam and the products that they've made previously, everything went downhill right after the SJ Pro. They came out with the Krypton. The Krypton was a fiasco. And I don't even think that they offer it anymore because there was so many software problems with that camera. Then it came out with the SJ9 Strike. I didn't even do my review on it because it was very bad. Then they came out with the SJ10 Pro, and I'm going, oh, all right, solid build quality. It's like the SJ8 in build quality. And yes, it's all the same internals. And it's waterproof as well. But I don't know what's going on with them. I mean, they have changed. And if a company's changed, just because, let's say Canon, I'm using a Canon M50. The Canon works great. I love the M50. It works fantastic. If they come out with another camera next year and they totally ditch support for it and they don't help out the consumers anymore, somebody's going to start complaining about it. And it's not because you can't judge somebody on their previous work. Like, I can't judge SJ Cam on what they did with the 4000 or the M10 or the M20 that I've got, or the SJ6 Legend, the 5000, the SJ7 Star. I can't grade them on what they've done in the past. You have to grade them on what they're doing now. Let's see. UK2 Adventures, worth it or not? That's why we watch you. You're honest. Thanks so much. So many fake reviews out there. I'm, excuse me. You know, it is what it is. I tell it like it is. If a company, and it's like I said about the cross tour, if you went to the end of the video, and I'd even said, if the company comes out and they address the firmware with a new firmware to address some of these issues, I will be more than happy to come out, make a new video to show, hey, there's a new firmware and it fixed all these things, and now it's a 2 thumbs up type of camera, or 2 thumbs up type of any type of product that I've reviewed before. That's about all I can do. Let's see. I've got coming the DJI Osmo 3. Is that the gimbal? Digital analog ham? The Osmo 3? Let's see, have you tried that? If it's the gimbal, no, I have not tried. I've not tried any of the DJI Osmo gimbals. What I have is the Osmo Pocket. I've got the Osmo Action, which I just had right here. Osmo Action. I've got a ton of DJI drones. And I really don't want to get into the whole drone thing because with this new FAA thing, and I don't know if any of you saw, you know, the Blue Angels, they flew over Dallas-Fort Worth. They flew over all these different cities. And then there was some jacknozzle that decided that he was going to fly up a drone. And it was, from what I could see, it looked anywhere from about 75 feet to 100 feet below the Blue Angels as they flew past. And it's jack knuckles like that that are going to ruin this hobby for a lot of people, because the FAA is finally going to just say, you know what? Even if you're a Part 107 pilot for drones, we're going to put all these restrictions into place to where it's just very difficult to commercially make money with a drone. And if you're a hobbyist, you're going to be completely SOL. Let's see. Tell me more about the Osmo 3. I can't wait to have the SJs. You know, the SJ6 Legend was a very decent little camera. I did a video. If you take a look in my main page, you'll see popular videos. And I think the first one is actually the SJ6 Legend versus the GoPro Hero 5. The stabilization on the SJ6 was actually better than the Hero 5. Now, granted, the Hero 5, it's an older camera now, but if you shoot it in 4K and you pair it up with a gimbal, then you're good to go. But the SJ6 is a good little camera. Let's see. The gyro is so cool, worth it. Let's see. Yes, gimbal. You know, I've heard a lot of good things, digital analog ham. I've heard a lot of good things regarding the DJI Osmo gimbal. Now, for me, gimbals, I've got Feutex. My first action camera gimbal was the Evo GP Pro. And that was a very expensive gimbal. When it first came out, I think it was $399. And I just had to make sure somebody wasn't trying to get my attention. That was very expensive back then when that first came out, considering that you've got like the Hohem iSteady Pro 2 gimbal for $89. The thing I like about the Evo gimbal, and I have no idea why they stopped making it, because they should go back to make it, that is the only gimbal that you don't have to calibrate, mess around with anything. You plug a camera into it, you lay it down on the table, you hit the start button, hold it until the light turns blue, and that way it's calibrated. You lift it up, hit the joystick button, it's on. That thing is smooth as butter no matter what camera I've stuck in it. And I have stuck the GoPro Hero 5 into it, and it was buttery smooth. Some of these other gimbals, the SJ Cam gimbal was okay. The first Hohem, the iSteady Pro, was okay. The iSteady Pro 2 is better. Phone gimbals. What phone gimbal did I have that I really liked? I think it was the Hohem. I think the Hohem had a phone gimbal that I really liked, but I've heard great things about the Osmo because not only can you hold a phone, you can actually stick an action camera in it. Let's see. Dan Whitaker. Everything so far is Nikon. Canon 5007, so the menu. Makes me crazy. Sounds like a shotgun discipline punished the whole drone community for a few potatoes that can't behave. You know, can you imagine, Dan? And by the way, like I said, there's like a 45-second to a minute delay now that I'm seeing. But can you imagine, Dan, for just 1 second? Let's say, okay, you've got, I think there was 5 of the Blue Angel jets in that formation, and then there was one jet off to the side that was actually filming them. But can you imagine if that drone, and from the looks of it, because I saw the props come up into view, it looks like a Phantom series, either a Phantom, I don't think it was a Phantom 3, but a Phantom 4, or maybe a Phantom 3 Pro. But the altitude that it was at looked like it was somewhere around 12 to 1,500 feet. And can you just imagine for a second if that Phantom had got sucked into the inlet of one of those Blue Angels jets? That jet may have come down. It could have crashed into houses. It could have crashed into a building. I mean, you know, it's millions of dollars for the aircraft plus possible loss of life because some jacknozzle decided that they wanted to get a really cool view. And by the way, if those of you don't know about this, all you got to do is Google drone flies too close to Blue Angels. And that person, he deleted his YouTube account, he deleted his Instagram, he deleted his Twitter, and he deleted his Facebook account. But there were so many people outraged, they actually copied the video, copied his name and everything, and they turned all of his information over to the FAA. So we'll see what happens with that. But, you know, it takes one person like that just to totally ruin this. And, you know, for a lot of us, if I'm doing something commercially and if I'm flying 100, 150 feet, that's more than enough for a lot of commercial work. You know, there's no need to fly 1,000 feet up. But anyway, I'm going to get off that soap train. So my battery use looks like it's still pretty good on the Canon M50. Although I will say one thing about the Canon M50. When it is about ready to die, it will just beep at you, and then all of a sudden the battery, where it shows full, will just go red, and you've got like 10 seconds, and it's going to turn off. So I am going to end this live stream here in just a few minutes. Let's see, it could have been very tragic if that hit. You know what? It could have been really tragic. And, you know, you heard about, what was it, a year and a half ago? I think it was in England, where the one drone was very close to the airport, or actually flown into the airport airspace. And so there was a big up in arms about that. You know, for all of us that are, love that name, Jack Nozzle. Well, you know, Captain Jack, I'm trying to keep this PG rated, or PG-13, and try not to curse a whole lot. But, you know, some people are just, you know, don't risk human life, and think of the other people that are in the sport. It's like, you know, for those of us that are old enough, like Dan and Captain Jack and myself, there was a time in the 80s where we all street raced. I was guilty. I had a bunch of hot rods. I mean, I had a 66 Chevelle, a 68 Chevelle, 69 Chevelle, 68 Camaro, a 1978 Z28 Camaro, a 74 Stingray Vet, just to give you a little idea of some of the cars that I had. And so I used to go street racing all the time. And we tried to do it in a safe area where it was no residential and all that. And then it got to a point to where street racing just got so out of hand, and they were doing it very dangerously, so it became a felony. So I just trotted my happy butt to the racetrack. So I would go either 1/8 mile or 1/4 mile racing. Even though there's a lot of people, and I actually am subscribed to one YouTube channel that still does street races here in Dallas. And when these guys are going 150, 160 miles an hour down the freeway with traffic, that's kind of bad news. Let's see, I'm going to finish this up here. I have a few words, but it's a family-oriented channel. Yeah, well, Dan, I'm right with you there. Let's see, watch your recorded live. Thanks for keep up the good work, worth it or not. Thank you. Man, I need my glasses. Is it Kototo? Maga Kototo? I hope I didn't butcher up your name, but thank you very much for joining into this live stream. Have yourself a very good weekend. There was a time back in the day when I drank too much. I don't remember driving home. I look back and see how stupid I was. I think all of us, we kind of went through the 80s. The 80s was a cool time for our generation. And I'm sure that the older generation, they go, oh no, the 70s was better, or the 60s was better. I think the 80s was really cool. I had a great time in the 80s. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this live stream. What I'm going to do is next week, hopefully, I'm going to have this sorted out either with OBS or Streamlabs, or I'm just going to go back to the YouTube Go Live where there is no delay and just run a live stream that way. But next week's live stream is going to be called Ask Me Anything. So we can talk about anything in the world. You want to, this channel is geared around review, but we can talk about filmmaking. What was or acting, believe it or not. I worked radio. I was in some feature films. I was behind the camera. I was in front of the camera. Anyway, we can talk about just about anything. Just ask me anything that you want, and we'll talk about that. But anyway, I hope you guys have yourself a very good Friday night and very good weekend. Storms are about to hit us here in DFW. It's going to be a rough night tonight. But anyway, I hope you guys have yourself a good night. And until the next review or the next live stream video, I will talk to you guys later. All right. Bye-bye.